Hey! Hi, San Antonio. Oh, yeah. I love doing conventions in Texas. This is so far away. I don't want to sit there. I want to stand up. Hi. If you're in the back, you can come closer. We have plenty of seats available. How's everybody doing today? All right, that's pretty good. Do me a favor. I'm actually doing really well. Thank you. Thank you. If anybody follows me on Twitter, I've been going back and forth. I said thanks, darling, to somebody on Twitter today, and then somebody got very offended by it and thought I was being condescending. And so we've been in this very interesting conversation on Twitter while I've been backstage about the merits of all of that. And I think context is a very important thing in life in general. And I think that some people have been hurt or experienced pain or have perhaps had bad experiences with some people using certain words, and then they see that and it triggers them, and then all of a sudden they just want to jump on you as if you're being that same source of pain, which is unfortunate because I think darlin's a great word, and even before I moved to Texas, I like using darlin a lot, so I'm sure anybody in Texas can understand that. But anyway, yeah. Woo! Anyway, so that's that. That's that. Come on in, come on in. Everybody out there buying toys, you want to be in here. Not to take away from the sales for those lovely vendors out there, but I'm far more entertaining. Hey, do me a favor. Let's all do ourselves a favor. I want you to turn to the person sitting next to you or somebody sitting next to you or all the people around you, and I want you to look at them in the eye, and I want you to say, you are loved and you are worthy of that love. Do it right now. You are loved and you are worthy of that love. Amen. I try to start all of my Yeah, heck yeah. Give yourselves a round of applause. What's up, little Shazam? What's up, bro? This is like the coolest thing ever. I love, honestly, when I got the job in Shazam, the thing I was looking forward to the most, I'm not even kidding, was this Halloween. Because this was going to be the first time I was going to see all the little Shazamlies running around in their muscle suits. Big old thunderbolt on their chest. Yes, sir. Hi, what's happening, bro? If you got a question, you can queue up with does anybody have a question? If you have questions, I don't do moderators. By the way, can we give it up for Katie, our lovely ASL interpreter? So awesome. Yeah. Thank you. I don't do moderated panels. Who's ever been to a Zach panel before? Show of hands. Okay, so most of you have not. It's going to be so fun. Hi, yeah. I'm going to see you later. Absolutely. You're just live streaming this to the world right now? Come on. We have a couple of different mics, so I'm going to start here, and then I'll bounce around. So hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Amy.
Hi, Amy. I'm Zach. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What's your question?
Okay, so I'm a theater major, and I
Nice.
love your work on the stage, and you've also done some voice work and also stuff on film. So I'm curious, how do you prepare for each of those different mediums as an actor?
Well, so my kind of philosophy on it is, what you're always trying to do if you're bringing a character to life is you're trying to bring it to life as authentically as you can. Yeah. Sometimes that becomes a very interesting challenge because some of the characters that you're bringing to life are very not real. They're very make-believe in their essence. But regardless, you still have to find the truth in that. You have to find how to make it as real as possible. And I think one of the interesting challenges and fun challenges, I think all of the challenges are fun if you can look at it that way, right? But one of those is you have to try and find the right energy level for all of it. So by that I mean, if you look at acting or the different types of acting, whether it's if you look at it all kind of like a spectrum of light, okay? So you've got infrared on one end and you've got ultraviolet on the other. And if any of those, nerds out there like me who are super into light spectrums. But the point is, all light is on this spectrum. It's all real. It's all happening all at the same time. But sometimes you can't even see. If you have the ability to see ultraviolet, you might not be seeing the infrared or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we can't even really see. That's all. It's not even the visible spectrum. Anyway, I digress. The point is that I try to look at acting kind of similarly in that on one end of the spectrum, you've got like super big, broad musical theater. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got like really subtle, like French, like indie film where the camera's like right here on the eyes and it's like eye acting, you know, it's all really, really quiet and subtle and all of that, right? Yeah. Now, you got to make those both real. They've both got to be honest, and they can both be honest, but they both kind of exist in a slightly different version of energy. Over here, it's much more subtle. You know, like if you watch a lot of dramas and stuff, you notice that sometimes they're whisper acting, you know? Now, you can do that with a film because you've got microphones that are picking up your very, whispery kind of voices. You can't do that on a stage. I mean, when I grew up as a theater nerd and very proud one at that, I was taught, way long ago, like you have to be projecting your energy and your voice enough to resonate with the little old lady in the back row that I always imagined had one of those. Remember those horns? Remember, like cartoons we used to watch, and they had the big kind of megaphone horn. Not that they have those anymore, but the point is, we have hearing aids now. Technology, guys, it's crazy, right? But you still need to project to that little old lady in the back row. That's what I always learned. And so that can be very helpful and very correct if you're doing it in the context of being on a stage and there's a little old lady in the back row. If you're doing a very subtle drama and you're, jazz handing it the whole time, it's too much. You can't. And I've learned a lot over the years. Like the first couple jobs that I got in Hollywood were sitcoms. They were multi-camera comedies. And those are much more like... they're much more like stage, to be honest, because you have a live audience up kind of in some bleachers, and you're kind of playing with a little bit of a proscenium, but it's a kind of amalgamation of both TV and theater. And it was a good thing that I started there because I learned a lot. Like in theater, you just kind of have to be in sometimes the general, like a pool of lights, you're blocking as I go walk over in front of the chair. Well, in television, the camera's you need to get clear focus on your face. So you can't just generally be in the area. You have to be right on your mark. Otherwise, you're not going to be clear. So there's all kinds of that stuff. But ultimately, regardless of the technicalities of it all, you have to find the reality in all of it. And one of the things I love so much about being an actor is that it actually forces you to practice really deep empathy. Like if you want to go and be a character, well, how do they think and how do they feel and where are they from and what is their level of empathy and their level of intelligence and stuff like that. So it's been a really cool journey and all of that. So always dig into that. Dig into the honesty of it and then apply the appropriate energy level to it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Rock and roll. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Fantastic. You're welcome. Totally. That'll be $50. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. Yes, right over there.
Hey.
What up, bro?
I was wondering, do you know if y'all are ever going to revive Chuck?
Is Chuck dead? Clear. No, I don't know. I've said this many times. I'm sure many of you have heard me say this at either panels or wherever, or on the interwebs, on the social medias, but I've been trying to make a Chuck movie since before we even ended the show. I've wanted to make a Chuck movie. And at this point, I'm the only one trying to make a Chuck movie. Still, which I don't understand. I feel like we're like the perfect, a prime example of a show that has an incredible, how many people were Chuck fans in the audience, right? All right. Oh, actually, I forgot to do this. I like doing this part too. Okay, so one more time. Show of hands, Chuck fans. Okay, hands down. Show of hands, Tangled fans. Show of hands, Shazam fans. Oh, wow. It looks like Shazam might have won this one. Interesting. Which, by the way, shouldn't be that much of a shocker, but I've done a couple other conventions recently, and half the audience hadn't seen Shazam, but everybody saw Tangled. And I was like, well, you have excellent taste in Disney films. Also go see Shazam. So interesting. So anyway, yeah. So back to you, sir. You can come. No, you can stay. You can sit down. I can track with you. Go back to your seat. You can go.
I'm good right
now. You good? You sure? Right. So I would love to make a Chuck movie. I think that.
Can I be in it?
have your people call my people. I don't know. Do you have people? Find people and then have those people call my people if you can find my people. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You know what? One of the things I thought would be really cool is to somehow, not a crowdfund. I don't really believe in crowdfunding. There's something just kind of, I don't know. I'm diametrically opposed to this idea of like, please help us make a movie. You know, like it's like this, you're begging people like hat in hand, like, oh, if we only had a few tuppence, we could have some bread tonight. You know, like I don't want to do that. I would rather like do a deal where we like pre-sell the movie. So we're making the movie, but then we pre-sell it. And then whatever city in the United States pre-buys the most of it and whatever city internationally pre-buys the most of it, we go shoot a scene in the Chuck movie in one of those cities. That I think would be a cool thing to do. So if are you from San Antonio?
I'm from San Angelo.
You're from San Angelo? Well, better get those San Angelinos going. And then maybe we'll be shooting there. I don't know. But I'd love to, man. And honestly, I feel like even though I do think there's kind of a cool, and I'm not sure exactly if this is what they were going for. I think it was, but the ending is a little polarizing, right? Like a lot of people weren't super stoked with the ending of Chuck, and I get it. Because you spent like 5 years investing in this relationship with these two people, or really all of them, but particularly Chuck and Sarah. And then, spoiler alert for anybody, it's been years. If you haven't watched the show, it's on you. But for that whole memory thing and all that, it's like it kind of bummed people out. I get it. But I do think if this is what the writers are going for, it is kind of cool if you think about it in the context of we're back on the same beach at the end that we started on, and the kind of roles have reversed, and now I'm asking her to trust me. And then what if basically you could go back to the beginning, you go back and start watching the show from episode 1, and it's as if I'm telling her all of that, right? So it's almost kind of like a perfect loop to watch it on. That's how I sleep at night anyway. That's how I make peace with it. But I do think it's worth us doing at least one installment. I don't think we're going to get a whole season or more seasons of the show. Because that's tough. That multiple episodes in a season is a big time commitment. But we could get people together for like a couple of months and go do a Chuck movie. I mean, it's like a fun American goofy Bond. I think it's a good premise for that. Anyway, thanks for your question.
Thank you.
Say hi to San Angelo for me. Anyway, yeah, right over here.
Hi.
Hi again.
Hi.
I know these microphones, right?
So I'm Lo.
You're what?
Lo. My
Lo?
name is Lo. Yeah.
Lo, nice. I thought you said I'm Love, and I was like, oh my God. Lo's cool too.
Cool, though. So I'm a film major, and I've realized in a lot of your films, even the ones when I don't know you're going to be in it, or in the TV shows like Miss Maisel, that was an awesome surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, Miss Maisel fans out there? Yeah.
But I realized that there's actually, I don't know what it is about your films, but there's just a really amazing quality to them. And that made me wonder, what do you count, like what makes you think something is a good movie or a good show enough for you to choose that role?
Well, as much as I'd like to say that I've been the author of all of the jobs that I've gotten in my career, I've been kind of, very lucky to just get hired half the time. I mean, you're auditioning for these things. I mean, I try not to audition for things that I don't think will be great. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that I've passed on in the years, and most of the time, I feel very good about that pass. I think there's probably only a few that I was like, oh shit, that turned out to be pretty good. I probably should have auditioned for that. But most of the time, it's just, now with Shazam, I'm finally in a place in my career where there's a little more like people, like there's more incoming calls to my agents and managers as opposed to them like, no, I promise, he's really talented. If you just see him, please. No, he doesn't just play a nerd. Trust me. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of that I think has just been God's providence, to be honest. Like, that I've gotten to be a part of so many shows and so many movies. Amen. Yeah, so many things that have resonated with people that are excellent, that have brought joy. Like, I love it. It's the biggest reason I ever wanted to become an actor, because when I was 4, even though I didn't know what acting was, but when I was 4, I was probably around that age when I was cognizant enough, just enough, where I realized that I could intentionally make somebody laugh. You remember that when you were a kid? And it wasn't just like an accident anymore, because, if you have kids, there's plenty of things that they do when they're real young, and they'll just do something and it cracks you up, and they're like, what did I do? How did I know? I don't know. I remember one time I was hanging out with some friends, and one of their kids, it was like 2 or something, they kind of, in their like drunken toddler walk, as they do it, kind of. All toddlers are basically drunk anyway. But anyway, so the drunken toddler walk into the room, and they kind of look at us, and they don't say anything. They're just kind of looking at us, and we're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they go, "Ah," and they do this, and then they took the door and they shut the door with them, and we all just busted up laughing. It was so funny, just the way it all happened. Well, then like a second later, the door opens up, and the kid comes in, and they and then they just keep slamming the door over and over and over again because they think that's what's funny, and eventually it was not funny at all. So that's not an example of knowing that you are intentionally making somebody out. But when that moment happens, and for me, I think it was around 4, and I did something, or I said something, or I learned a joke, or whatever it was, and I made somebody laugh, and you can see it. It doesn't like laughter transcends all languages and all boundaries, and you can see the joy that is in somebody's face. You might not speak the same language from anywhere in the same part of the world, but you know that there's a positive reaction going on, and that's joy that they're feeling. And I was addicted to wanting to bring people joy. I love it. It's the greatest. So the fact that I get to do things like Chuck and Shazam and Maisel and Tangled and all of these things that, Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel. I can't even tell you how many. It's the weirdest. It's so. How many of you were children when the Squeakquel came out? Yeah, of course you were, Lo. Of course. I'm not old at all.
Not too old for me.
No. Noted. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yes, over there.
Hi, my name's Teresa. I've been a fan since like Less Than Perfect. So
Yeah, Less Than Perfect. Yeah. Less Than Perfect fans in the audience? Few of you. Yeah, Kip. Okay.
Okay.
Secretary.
I currently like watching Tangled the series because of the message it provides, and anybody really can learn a lesson from it. And I can play it at work for my students, so I don't have to worry about language or anything like that. And I have a comment and question, but the comment is, they'll be like, "Oh, this is a girl show. I don't want to watch it." But when you come on as a voice of Eugene, these kids are like silent, and I'm like, okay, I could get some work done.
So really, you're just happy I'm a distraction. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
That's fine. That's fine.
Well,
I'm happy to be a great distraction.
Sometimes stuff they want to watch, you can only watch certain movies so many times, and it's like, but this way I can enjoy it, and it's like, But my question is, I enjoy Eugene, but one of the characters that's really starting to grow on me is Feldspar. And my question was, did Chris approach you with doing the voice of that character, or was that something you decided, or how did that all happen?
Yeah, so... Well, how many people, anybody here watch Tangled the series? I know we got to Tangled the Tangled the series. If you get a chance, I really would recommend it. It's more similar to the movie in that the movie appeals to a broad spectrum of ages and male and female. It's something for everybody. The TV show actually is too. It's on Disney Channel, which unfortunately there's a connotation of, oh, this is just for little kids. But it's actually a very intelligently made cartoon series on Disney Channel. Anyway, that's all that. But there's a character named so I play Eugene Fitzherbert, Flynn Rider. I reprise that role in the series. But occasionally, I'll get to do these other kind of like random characters here and there. And one of them that came up early on in the series was this character named Feldspar, which is as fun as it is to say. Yeah. And he's like the town cobbler. He's the shoemaker. And I don't know what I was reading through the script and I was going through my lines and I go, who is this Feldspar, this doofy, because it was the doofy cobbler was initially, even before Feldspar was his name. And they were like, oh, he's just like, he's the town cobbler, and he's kind of like loopy and stuff. And I was like, oh, kind of like is it Ed Wynn, right? Is that his name?
I think so.
Ed Wynn, who was he was the voice of the Mad Hatter and was in Mary Poppins. He was the uncle that was like laughing and floating, right, with Dick Van Dyke and all that. So, he was the mustard, don't let's be silly, that. And Alan Tudyk actually modeled his voice of King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph after the same guy. And so anyway, I just started doing that voice, and we were all laughing, and they're like, you got to do it. And I was like, you're darn right I do. Yeah. So that's how the origin of Feldspar came to be. Also, and what do you teach, darling?
Well, actually, I'm a sub, so I basically work from, I can do age groups from like pre-K through 5th grade. So I mainly work 4th and 5th grade, and that age group, they think they're like so grown up at this time.
Don't we all?
They're not, and they're so worried about being cool, and
yeah.
And they want to fit in, and I'm telling them, I'm like, just be who you are and don't be afraid of that, because unfortunately they have it in their minds that that'd be cool. It's like, no, just
being
be who
cool
you
is
are.
so overrated.
Exactly.
It's like the biggest thing we all waste time trying to achieve. It's such a big lie. And honestly, social media is helping no one in all of that, because all we do is look at other people's lives that we think are real lives, and they're all curated, and it's like people wearing nice, cool things and Prada bags and whatever. Guys, it's all bullshit. Sorry, earmuffs. You're lucky I haven't said fuck yet, because I've dropped that a lot. That's also. Anyway, I asked you because I want to thank you. Thank you for being a teacher for these young minds. That is a job that is being overlooked and underappreciated more and more every year. And thank you for investing in those child's minds and hearts.
No problem. They, when I tell them sometimes I go to these conventions to get to talk to you, they're like, what? It's like, yeah.
They could have been here. That would have been cool.
Field trip.
Thank you, Darren. Well, tell them I said hi, okay?
I will.
All right.
Thank you.
And what's over here? Yes, sir.
Hi, Zach. What's up, man?
Hi, what's up, man?
Hey.
Hey, that's wild. Come on.
Hey. My name's Rick, and been a huge fan of you since Tangled. That was the first exposure
okay.
I had with you, and I'm actually doing...
Sounds like a sickness. That was
It
my
is.
first Zach exposure.
I was obsessed with Flynn so much.
I get it.
But
I get it.
I plan on doing an essay on Tangled the series someday, but I want to know, like, in your opinion, what is it like to really dive into Eugene as a character, starting off as just a dashing crook all the way to a charming man that eventually gets married?
I don't know that I would call him a crook.
Professional.
A rogue.
Yes, a professional
A
rogue.
rogue. Dude, it's the best, man. Like, I was a Disney nerd since I was knee high to a grasshopper, bro. Like, I grew up in Southern California, and we went to Disneyland as much as we possibly could, and grew up on the Disney Channel. So I know, like, the whole catalog, like Pecos Bill and Paul Bunyan and Johnny Appleseed and all the Disney, all the, like, Mickey and Goofy and Pluto's and all of that stuff, all of the crazy Donald Duck cartoons with, when you had Chip and Dale first making their appearance before they were even Chip and Dale. Like I loved all of it. I still love all of it. Just the other day we were YouTubing trying to get some of the Pecos. By the way, you can't get a Pecos Bill online. Did you know that? Oh. They've edited Pecos Bill so much that he doesn't even like smoke cigarettes. I know, it's ridiculous. Anyway, I digress. But the point is, I loved all that stuff, and I genuinely dreamt of being a Disney prince, like being able to be the voice of a Disney prince in a Disney musical. And then I got to do it. And I've gotten to do quite a few things now that I've dreamt of in my life, and it overwhelms me. Like I'll just be driving sometimes and thinking about it and feeling like such deep gratitude that I just start crying. I mean, like literally that's how cool it is and how grateful I am that I get to play a role like Flynn Rider. But Flynn Rider, again, if I got to be a Disney prince, that would be cool in itself. The fact that I got to be the best Disney prince.
Yeah!
Who are we even kidding, folks? Aladdin, I'll give you. Aladdin was my favorite. He was kind of the first one that we had as dudes, right?
Yeah.
I was going supporting my sisters in Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid. I was there. Whole new world. I got it. But then all of a sudden we got our dude. Also, not a crook. Misunderstood rogue.
Yes.
So, but yeah, Flynn is like, I don't know. He's super fun and dashing and funny, but also, you know, can be super goofy and unaware at times. But has those elements of, like, you know, Han Solo and Indiana Jones in him, and that's all I ever wanted to be. That's all I still want to be. I hope that there's a role out there where I get to, you know, be a Han Solo or a Indiana Jones type. I'm just putting that out into the ether. So yeah, it's the coolest, man. Yeah. So thank you. And go write that essay.
I will. Thank you so much for a great career.
Bless you, man. Thank you.
No problem.
Yes, over there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing all right, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Houston won a game. We're still in it. We're still in it. Those first two were pretty abysmal.
My name is Wyatt, and I wanted to ask, what was your favorite episode of Chuck to film?
Ooh. I don't know. There were a lot of them. I think my go-to answer of my favorite Chuck episode is Chuck versus the Beard, which is season 3, episode 13, which is the first one I got to direct. And that wasn't my favorite for some reasons, because the pressure of directing an episode, particularly my first, was immense, and I was having a few mental breakdowns in that time. But I'm very proud of it, and I was so happy that it was the beginning of bringing Chuck's personal life into The Secret, because I was, quite frankly, I mean, Chuck was frustrated in the writing, but Zach, was frustrated in this constant, like, having to lie to my sister and Devin and Morgan, and, you know, when we could have incorporated them into, you know, well, keeping them safe, of course, keeping them safe. So it was really cool to finally have, like, my best buddy in on The Secret with me, and, like, you know, co-conspirators and all of it. And I just think it's got some really great moments, and, like, you know, the Die Hard stuff, and, you know, big fan of my own work, apparently. Thanks, man.
You.
Yeah. Go Stros. Unless they're playing my Dodgers, in which case, no Stros. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Yes.
What's up, Zach?
Hi.
I just wanted. Well, my name is Joseph, and
Hey, Joseph.
I just wanted to, like, know. I heard some rumors about Shazam 2, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering if, like,
What rumors?
I've heard.
Am I still in it?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay.
You are. And I was
Woo!
hearing, and I was
Thought
like,
John Krasinski was sneaking in there.
and I also heard that, like, Dwayne Johnson was gonna be in it or something. And
Well, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which I believe is his full technical name, is playing Black Adam, but he's playing Black Adam in a standalone Black Adam film first. And then, I believe, if all goes to plan, the idea is to then incorporate the Shazam and Black Adam cinematic universes together in that point. And so I don't know. That's all way above my pay grade. I could probably be shot just for sharing what I did.
Yeah. Oh, and how did it feel in the suit, like, when you were playing as Shazam?
How did they film in it?
How did you feel in the suit?
Oh, how did
like,
I feel in it?
Yeah.
Pretty badass. Not gonna lie. No, I mean, yeah, it was really cool. As an actor, every time you get to have, like, your costume and your hair and makeup, like, if you get to put all that stuff on, it really helps you to kind of, you know, step into the role a little bit better. You have less that you have to imagine, and more that you can literally look at yourself in the mirror and be like, oh yeah, look at me. I'm kind of like, I'm that dude now. All right, cool. So that was super fun, but it's also an incredibly uncomfortable suit that I've already talked to my bosses about remodeling because it was just, like, really, really tight, like real tight. And also, like, not conducive to going to the bathroom in at all. And I'm not the first person to say these words. Like, every superhero, well, maybe not all of them. I think, like, there's probably been a couple that had a slightly more conducive, I don't know, like Wonder Woman probably. I think, you know, she had a skirt, She could probably go to the loo and be fine. I don't know. We're in these spandexy deals, and like I had zippers that you were hidden in the kind of crotchal area, and I had to have like a costumer with these with these like eye hook, like button hook things, and reach down. Like I would literally sit like this, and then they would reach down in here and unzip me like this. I felt like a toddler. You know what I mean?
You felt like a toddler.
Yeah, like
being
upsies,
changed.
upsies. You know, and then I would go, and I would go to the bathroom. But you could only do a number one. There wasn't like the butt flap deal. I couldn't, you know. If I had to drop a deuce, I had to take the whole damn thing off. It was, and that's a pain in the ass, literally and figuratively. It's so yeah. But it was still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
All right, no problem.
Appreciate it.
Hey,
Yes.
you're awesome, Zach.
Thank you, Joseph. You're awesome. Thank you, sir. Thanks for being here today. Yes, right over there.
Zach, I also think you're awesome.
Thank you very much.
I love Shazam.
Thank you.
I was curious, did you collaborate with Asher Angel, like developing the character of Shazam, like because it really does feel like you are the same person.
Excellent. That's the whole point. We did as best we could. Unfortunately for us, but fortunately for him, he was a big Disney star, and excuse me, I didn't want to burp in the mic. But he was still doing. He was finishing up like the last season of the Disney show. He was doing Andy Mack while we were starting the film. So we got a little bit of rehearsal time. He and I and David Sandberg, our director, and kind of working through some beats and some moments. And then it was just really just trusting David on the day when he was directing Asher or directing me, because we were really never there. I mean, occasionally we would be in the same place at the same time if we had scenes where it was a transformation moment, right? But for the most part, we were on two completely different schedules, so we didn't even really see all that much of each other. And he was still bouncing around and doing stuff. Now he's like gonna go be the next Justin Timberlake. That kid is like, all I ever wanted to be was Justin Timberlake, and he gets to do it. Unbelievable. But yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm glad it felt good and seamless for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers. For
Looking
sure.
forward to you kicking the Rock's ass.
Yeah, bro. Oh man, I can't wait to punch the Rock in the face. It's gonna be so much fun. I mean, Black Adam. You know what I mean? Yes.
Hi, Zach. How
Hi.
are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How you doing? We took a photo earlier, didn't
yes,
we?
it
Yes,
was
we do. It's in your hand right now.
It was an honor to meet you earlier.
Oh, bless you, man. Thank you.
My question is, well, I don't know if you get a say-so in things like this, but would you ever consider San Antonio as a future filming location for a movie?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I moved to Austin. I've lived in Austin now for a couple of years, and I moved to Austin because I want to. Yeah. Come on. But I moved to Austin specifically because I wanted to build a film studio / resort / I don't know, a lot of things. But I kind of want to build my own Disney World. It's a long story. I won't get into it now. But I just, yeah, so my intention has already been to bring filming to the great state of Texas, and knowing that, sometimes there's locations that you need where you are, and sometimes there are locations that are in other places, and San Antonio's a hop, skip, and a jump away from Austin. So it's not like we couldn't come down and shoot something down at the Riverwalk or whatever, I need a Riverwalk. Oh, I'm in luck. So yeah, you never know. And if so, come down to be an extra or something. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, cool. Over there.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
What's up, bro?
Nick.
Hi. Good to see you again.
My question is, what can we expect from Shazam 2, and have you seen the Joker yet?
Well, I'll start with the first question, and then I'll go to the second one. What can you expect from Shazam 2 that I can divulge? Are there any red sniper dots on me right now? Anybody? You can expect a lot of the same awesomeness that you got in the first one. I think one thing I can probably say that I don't think is any kind of a spoiler, but now that the Shazamly has essentially been established, which, by the way, how many people was that spoiled for before you went to the movie, and how many people were genuinely surprised? How many people were genuinely surprised when that moment happened in the movie, where the whole right? Like, that was a pretty well kept secret. I was shocked. Most of that stuff leaks out, and like things in movies get spoiled all the time. But but now that that's kind of a thing now, I think we can expect a little bit more of that. I hope so. We got our own little Mighty Morphin Power Rangers team now. That's pretty dope. So we just need a pink one. But so I think so that could be in there. And then, but other than that, I can't tell you anything. I really can't. Sorry. And then have I seen the Joker? Yeah, I saw the Joker. And dude, show of hands, who's seen the Joker? I'm a company man, and I definitely want to be very supportive of the DC universe as they picked up my burning, charred body from the Marvel universe and gave it new life. Thank God. But I don't speak what I don't believe, and this is not just because I work for DC. Joker to me is one of the best comic-based movies I have ever seen. It is dark and it's gritty and it's not for children. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but I genuinely think it's not just a great comic movie. It's a great movie. It's cinematic. And it deals with things that I think a lot of movies shy away from, particularly mental illness and mental health, which I'm a huge advocate for the healing process of all that stuff. And I was just blown away. I was blown away that they weren't afraid to go and tackle something that important. Like I think it's the most important thing we need to be talking about right now is mental health and mental illness. And they did it, but they didn't do it in like some super preachy way. It was just giving an example of what happens to somebody when they are abused, when they suffer trauma as a young child and what that can become. And honestly, I don't know that I've ever seen a villain. I mean, I have a hard time even calling him a villain, even though the Joker very much is a villain. But I had never in my life gotten a story brought to me in that way where I genuinely empathized with the villain, where I was like, wow, like not to absolve him or anyone for doing wrong or doing bad, but to understand why they do wrong and they do bad. And I think that's something we have so unbelievably and so sadly lost context for in this world. We all look at each other with such not all of us, but I mean, there's so much vitriol and there's so much hate and there's so much fear. It's all based in this fear, and it's because we somehow look at someone and expect them to have lived the same life that we lived. And we don't, guys. We don't live the same lives. We are all suffering from various things, and that's all because we all went through different things when we were kids and even into our adulthood. And if we can just take a moment to just stop and observe and try to just practice a little bit of empathy and go, hey, I might not agree with you. I might really dislike you, but it doesn't mean I can't love you. I think that's one of the other biggest problems that we have in this world is that we think that love equals amplified like. Guys, like and love are two completely different things. You can love someone with all of your heart and not like them at all. It just means that you can see the person that's still inside of them. You are choosing to humanize them and not dehumanize them. And that's how we get to a better world. And if we do that, I swear to God, it's going to be so groovy. It's going to be so groovy. We're going to live in a great world. Anyway, amen. Cheers.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, man. Yes, right here.
Hello, Zach.
Hey.
My name is Metheus. I asked this question for Jeremy Renner a few months ago because he was in tag. So I was wondering if the Shazam kids play tag for all of eternity, who would you say would be the tag king or queen?
If they played it for all of eternity?
Yeah.
It's a long time to play tag. Not it. Forever. Who would win in an ongoing game of tag? I would. Well, Billy would, I guess. I mean, Billy's got more of the powers than the other kids do, so I think he'd be able to be a little more crafty, you know what I mean? And then probably Darla, because she's, she got the super speed. And then everybody else, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Billy and Darla forever.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, over there.
Hi, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Actually, going back to the mental health thing, one of my favorite things in the last year that I've really gotten into was podcasts. And one of my actually two of my absolute favorites was when you were on with Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, and so anybody else listen to Michael Rosenbaum's podcast inside of you? Super good. You should check it out if you haven't. Really, really good. I did a couple of those episodes, and we talked very almost exclusively about mental health
That was
and whiskey.
Oh yeah, one of my two Frank Sinatra whiskey. of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and two of my favorite episodes of a podcast ever.
Thanks, man.
Especially the way you guys go into it. And Michael Rosenbaum, I swear, I feel like I need to give him a hug.
Yeah.
And just tell him everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, but I was wondering because you guys talked on the second one about doing a third, and you were going to interview him.
Yeah, I'm gonna get inside Michael.
That's where I was waiting for.
I'm terrified.
I'm sure he is too. But I was wondering if there was any idea on when that might possibly happen.
I honestly have no idea. It's just always a matter of like scheduling and finding the time to do it. And you know, the first two happened kind of perfectly, just in the time that afforded itself, and we did it. And I'll get back in there, and you know, we'll roll up our sleeves and. Yeah, and honestly, I think, you know, what's kind of nice is that we've been able to put time between them because there's so much growth that goes on when you're really practicing your own journey in mental health. And I highly recommend everyone here. Some of you might not think that you need to go to a therapist, and for all intents and purposes, you might not need to go to a therapist, but you can only benefit from finding a good therapist and going to a therapist, because we're all toying with and struggling with certain things in our minds and our hearts. And even our closest, best, most beloved people in our lives are biased, and they have certain ideas of what they think are better or best for you. And they mean well. It's not like they don't mean well. Your parents or your family or your wife or spouse, your husband or spouse or whatever, your kids, They most of the time, they mean well. They might be giving you really horrible advice, but they mean well. The difference is that you can go to a therapist and they are an unbiased party. They can hear your narrative. They can hear what you're talking about, and they can encourage and direct and guide in ways that are less biased in that way. And that allows us to be much more free in us talking about the things that we're struggling with. And you got to talk about it. You got to get that shit out of your system. It is poison. All those lies can start flying around in your head and in your heart. And you got to work through that stuff. And when you do, life is so much groovier. So the more time that both Michael and myself get to be on our journey and keep working through stuff, when we get to that point of having the third episode, we'll have even more to talk about, I think. So very much looking forward to it, though.
And
Yeah.
I just want to say before I leave, as a fellow human on this earth, man, I love you.
I love you too, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
You're going to make me cry. Don't do that. Love you, man. Thank you. Yeah, hi.
Hi, so I work with a contemporary Christian radio station in
Yeah.
Del Rio. It's a couple of hours west of here. I want to
Lots
know...
of Stephen Curtis Chapman.
We'll get it for you. We'll play it. Yeah, lots of Stephen Curtis Chapman. We got Casting Crowns,
Sure,
Matthew
of
West.
course. The whole lineup.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we got them all going. I want to know if I could get you to say, hey, this is Zachary Levi, and you're listening to life-changing radio.
I mean, unfortunately, you can't, because that would be an I know. That's because that's an endorsement, and I try to not do those things at panels. Yeah, but I appreciate you trying, and you tell everybody at the station. I said, hey, what's that?
How about an interview sometime in the future?
That's
We'd
possible.
love to.
Yeah, hit up if you go find my convention agent. She's actually right there in the back, waving her hand in the white. There you go. You can go talk to her, and you can give her a card or something, and we can maybe work that out.
We will absolutely do that.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming to Texas.
My pleasure.
I guess moving to Texas.
Yeah, I know, right?
We so appreciate you having you here. We've been huge fans of you and my
Thanks.
brothers over there.
Hey, bro. What's up, bro?
So we've been huge Chuck fans, huge anything fans. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
You're a man of faith, and I thank you that you share that. You're not shy, and that you use your platform to share love as you've been doing. So thank you.
Well, I think that's the most important thing we need to be doing right now.
Yes.
We need to be conduits of love. That's what we need to do.
Yes.
And honestly, and that's interdenominational, and that's interfaith, and that's all those things. We need to find love first and foremost for ourselves, and then we need to share that love with one another. And guys, it's really going to change the world. I swear to you. It's going to be great. Thank you.
Love
Thanks for
conquers
coming
all.
on.
Thank you so
Amen.
much. So
Yeah,
appreciate
totally.
it. Thanks.
Over there. Yes, sir.
Hey, Zach.
Hi.
I got 2 questions. Are we going to find out whatever happened to Sarah and Chuck during the final?
Were you here about 15 minutes ago?
No.
Where were you? Buying some toys, I bet. Yeah, well, I don't know. I hope to make a Chuck movie, and if I do make a Chuck movie, then yes, we'll absolutely find out what happened between the two of them on that beach.
Okay, and the other question is, are we going to see Geeks That Drink season 2?
No. No, I know. We had a good time doing that first season, and then we thought we were going to do a second season, and then Sci-Fi was like, yeah, it's too expensive or whatever. There were like too many cooks in the kitchen, and that was the end of it. So you can still go and do Geeks Who Drink. Geeks Who Drink is a pub trivia circuit that's all over the country. I think even internationally, and they have pub trivia nights all over the place. But the TV show itself, sadly, was just one season, and that's that.
All right. You're one of my favorites, so.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes, over here. Esmeralda.
Hi.
Is it Esmeralda?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good.
Correct.
Earlier I said, "Oh, you're the chick from Hunchback of Notre Dame," but because I was blanking on, but you're Esmeralda.
There's only one from Hunchback, so. Okay, so I just want to say that I also love Tangled the series. I especially love it because Eugene and Rapunzel get to have like couple time before they get married. Not all Disney couples get that.
Yeah.
And so it's great when they do. But I am curious, what is Eugene's official position in the castle? Like, I know he becomes a guard, but there's a long time where he's just kind of there. Is he like an official royal?
I mean, I would call him the official ambassador of charm. Life imitating art. Art imitating life. No, I don't know. I mean, he was kind of just floating, really, trying to ingratiate himself to his soon-to-be in-laws. And
Right, he gets really close with the king, which was a little weird because I'm like, you're still just a commoner.
Yeah.
And you're getting buddy-buddy with the king.
Commoner, huh? I haven't been called that in years.
Yeah, I'm not even a commoner. I'm a gypsy, so I'm less than commoner.
It's
so.
all good. It's all good. I'm just kidding. No, I don't. Yeah, I mean, look, it was kind of a funny dynamic because, and that is ultimately kind of why I think the premise of the series is so fun and interesting, because you end the movie and it's love and love forever, and we're there at the castle and the king and queen, and it's all good. And then we had the Tangled Ever After, and that was the wedding day. But when they were trying to crack the series, it was like, well, when would that take place? And I think it is that perfect time. What is it, that natural courting time from we've fallen in love, but we still don't really know each other, and then up to the wedding day. And so that there is that kind of funny, interesting, awkward stuff that you find in the series of me like now living in this castle and being super stoked about it, but also like not really belonging at all, and trying to find my place in all of that, and Rapunzel trying to find her place in all that, because she's never been a princess, really. She's been walking around barefoot her whole life. I know, crazy, right? Barefoot with a frying pan. And so that's part of the fun of the original, like of the first season, the beginning of the first season, and then I start finding my place in the world. But yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Cheers. And over there.
Hello.
Hi.
So you were one of the original collaborators on Knocking Point Wines.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And of the two, which one was your favorite that you came out with?
I think that that rosé I was a big fan of, that we came out with that first time. Has anybody gotten the second shipment, the Nerd HQ collaboration we're talking about? Yeah. We have is it a Merlot this time? I can't remember. It's a darker blend. Mm-hmm. But that just came about because Stephen Amell and I just became friends through doing conventions and stuff, and he would come to Nerd HQ and was so gracious in giving his time. I think the last 3 years or 4 years that we did it, and then he was launching Knocking Point and was like, "Hey man, we do these collaborations with various folks, and we'd love to do it." And I was like, "Yeah, cool. That seems like a good deal." So, I try to, as best I can, I try to be available to support people in their endeavors, and hoping that they will also support me in mine. And I think that we've been able to find really good balance between Knocking Point and Nerd HQ, and me and Steven, and just really lovely folks.
Cool.
Yeah.
Also, your dog is adorable. Love
Thank
Blue.
you. I love my dog. Yes. Blue. He's a healer. Totally unoriginal name for a blue healer. Like, I literally named him Blue. It's like, oh, you got a blue healer? Yeah, we named ours Blue too. Everybody does. Whatever, mine's the best. Yes.
Hi, Zach.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you
San
too.
Antonio.
Nice to be seen.
So you are part of the DC universe as Shazam.
Yeah.
I can't say Captain Marvel because the.
You can say Captain Marvel. It's okay.
All right.
My name is still technically Captain Marvel in a lot of the comic books. It just, we couldn't sell a comic book that says Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's true.
Because copyright. But yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, but do you know anything about the Snyder Cut?
Well, I know what a whole bunch of people on Twitter keep crying out for, but it doesn't exist. As far as I know, it doesn't exist. I mean, of course, there's always like initial early drafts or like early cuts that they'll show studios and stuff like that, but I'm sure that's as far as that got. And then the studio, he had to leave and Joss was brought on and they did the rest of the movie and that was the cut.
Mm-hmm.
There is not some finished version of Justice League with all the everything that was all Zack Snyder and that I know of. You can't believe everything online. Shocker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I would encourage anyone who's still waiting for some Snyder Cut to be released to focus your passion into another cut of something else because it's just not happening. Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you knew about it. And
Oh, yeah.
If
I mean, I'm still waiting for the Snyder Cut to be released.
Yeah?
No, I'm kidding. It doesn't exist.
Good one.
Cheers.
I like your beard.
Thanks, bro. Me too. Over there.
I was just wondering, before taking on Shazam, were you a graphic novel fan? And if so, what was your favorite series? I'm kind of in a war right now with my high school students.
You're in a war with your husband?
No, my high school students.
Oh, with your high school students.
I'm an English teacher, so.
You're an English teacher. And are you using graphic novels within your doctrine? Your, what's the word I'm looking for?
My classroom, my
Yes.
lesson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I allow graphic novels because I think they're literature.
They are literature
So.
with cool pictures.
Yes. And that gets the kids reading because
I
they're
know.
15, 16. So we
Yeah.
talked about, like, we actually did a poem analysis of the Ramones song that's at the end of Shazam. And then that got us talking about the movie. And then we just, ever since then, we've been in kind of this, which is the best graphic novel war.
Well, so what do you think is the best graphic novel? No pressure.
I am a big DC fan.
Yeah.
But if you would ask my daughter, we love Shazam. We watch the Shazam shorts on DC Universe.
Okay.
So, but right now I'm reading Injustice.
Okay. So I got into graphic novels a little bit later. I was a comic book reader when I was younger, but then I got into like proper graphic novels later on in life, and it was Y: The Last Man that got me into graphic novels, and I still think, yeah, Esmeralda knows what's up. Y'all, if you haven't had a chance to read Y: The Last Man, it is super good. It's really, really good. And super woman positive heavy. I mean, it's like literally the entire story is there's one guy left on Earth and his capuchin monkey, and they're the only two mammals, male mammals left on Earth, and every other mammal on Earth is a female, and they are kicking ass and taking names. So, and I think they tried to make a TV show out of it, didn't they? Did that end up happening, or I don't know. Anyway, it did happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. They made the pilot, didn't they shoot but then it never aired or something? What the hell? Anyway, I wanted to play Yorick so bad. I thought that would be such a fun role. Although having to keep track of a capuchin monkey who would probably be shitting on my shoulders all the time wouldn't have been super fun. Anyway, so Y: The Last Man I think is great. Another one that I very much enjoyed was DMZ. And that's kind of like, I don't know, apparently I'm super into post-apocalyptic plots. It's all gonna burn, guys. But in DMZ, it's basically like a new civil war, like the new American Civil War breaks out, and different factions are in different parts, and Manhattan becomes the demilitarized zone between two of those factions, and all the like weird people and gangsters and arms dealers and stuff that live in the DMZ. And I thought that was a really cool one too. That's all I can think of right now.
All right, thank you. I'll have to pick
You're welcome.
some copies of those.
Absolutely, yeah. And over here.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. I was wondering, as you grow up, are you attracted to different kinds of roles than when you were a lot younger?
Well, I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. By the way, how fucked up is it that Canada still has Toys R Us, but we don't? Canada got Toys R Us, and we lost it. They're slowly but surely taking it all away, guys. What? What happened? As I grow up, I mean, clearly, like, I got hired to play a 14-year-old superhero, so yay! I don't know. I just want to keep making roles, making films and television shows or plays or whatever. I just want to keep bringing stories to life that mean something to people, that are helping to build empathy or helping to bring understanding or enlightenment or even just a good laugh. You know, and not at the expense of other people. I feel like there's a lot of laughter that gets brought nowadays, but it's really cutting and it's really sarcastic and it's about like bringing down somebody else. I mean, even in like the political world of things, like there's so many people, a lot of these like talk show hosts and stuff, and their comedy is always about slagging somebody in order to get everybody riled up and get a joke. It's like, guys, that's the cheapest way to get a joke. There's far better ways and far more uplifting and unifying ways to make people laugh. So yeah. So that's what I'd like to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. Yes, over there.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of Chuck, and I liked you on Miss Maisel.
Thanks.
And I was really stoked when you got Shazam, but I loved you in Heroes Reborn. It was good to play you such a dark character.
Thanks, man.
Which is something unusual for you. Is that something that you think you would do more in
Oh
the
yeah,
future?
yeah. I would love to play more darker or more complicated or more
grittier.
Yeah, gritty. Yeah, 100%, man. I'd love to do that. It's it's very strange. I'm actually there's a role I'm kind of angling for right now in a film. It's a smaller role, but in a really cool film, and it's more of a dramatic piece. And the character is a little bit, a little unsavory. It's nothing crazy, but they were like, yeah, do you have any all the scenes that we see of you are kind of like more lighthearted. It's like, guys, I'm an actor. Like, just because that was the job before doesn't mean that's the only thing I know how to do or can't, or maybe it is actually. Maybe that's the only thing maybe that's why nobody's hiring me to do that. But yeah, I would love to play more interesting, more complex roles like that.
I just thought that was like super underrated and like to see you do more stuff like that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, cheers. Yes,
well,
right
thank
here.
you, Zach.
Oh,
and
is that
thank you.
it?
We're out of time.
No!
I know. But thank you, everybody, for coming. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
San
Thank you,
Antonio,
Zach.
God bless you guys. Thank you so much for being here on my panel. Thank you for hanging with me. I hope I see you at the table or at the photo booth this weekend or at the panel tomorrow. Okay, bye.